Hello everyone and welcome to round 1 of the FPV Motoamerica League. Now I must say before we get into this episode, it is messy from the start. I had loads of issues from just the way it's being run to other riders to just the VR in general, so I'm not too sure if I'll even do round 2, but I said I put episode 1 out. I kind of go from there and see what the feedback is. A lot of issues really with VR and stuff, so overall it's just a bit messy, but we are here at Road Atlanta for round 1 now. Track is okay, not my favourite. We'll jump to my qualifying lap here in a second, but elevation in GP bikes usually just means issues, and this is no different around this place. It's quite ripply, it has a lot of rollers. You can just see the elevation in the back is shot there in the intro, and just overall it's a tough racetrack even in third person. So jump now to the end of my qualifying lap before we get on to our fast lap. You can see a lot of screen tearing as always with VR, so unfortunately might be the best looking video to watch. I forgot to turn chat off before I went into qualifying, so we're going to see people having full on chats with Mose during my qualifying lap, which is unfortunate. Currently in P6. It was a 45-minute qualifying session. I only got to do about 10 minutes of it. I was busy, so less than ideal. So my qualifying position in the end was definitely hampered by that. I even went quicker in warm-up because this is my first laps of the day. These ones you're seeing now in VR. I had during the server about an hour before and did a few laps in first person, but on the monitor you can see down the snake they were just not really getting it all hooked up. So the lap time isn't bad in the end, it's just overall the lap could have been better and could have put me further up the grid because there's quite a performance issue I have in the race I will get to in a minute. But so far it's been a tidy enough lap. Just down the snake section I was just a bit kind of woeful really, and in here again just a decent bit wide, and we pick it up for the Williams latex, so we just squared off, and of course then when you square it off you get the wheelie. So it's GP bikes in a nutshell, one mistake forced you into another one. So we're coming down now to the biggest braking point on the track, and a corner I actually pretty like because I feel very strong in here. I feel quite strong in braking even in VR. You can just at the shadow, getting on the anchors, back a couple of gears and just throwing the bike in, releasing the brake and hoping it sticks. And again now we have a bit elevation here. I use all of the track, it's probably the best I've done that in this session. Can get a little bunny hop on that little crest there, and into the final corner we go again, just a touch wide from my liking, up to the line. Currently in P6 and we go up to P4 on the grid, so 28.6. Unfortunately not an amazing lap for me, I could have done better. We jump now, this is warm up, the end of warm up, and I do a much longer stint, get a lot more comfortable. And to be honest, after my warm up, you see here in a second, we are currently P2. Up the line we do a 28.4, so we go 2.5 tenths quicker than we did in qualifying. You can see me nodding in absolutely pleasurable feeling there of, you know, I'm after figuring it out a bit, and I got the tyre pressures better, figured out my fuel load and warm up. So after qualifying I wasn't too happy. There was a couple of people that were in the league that again I kind of registered but then not joined. For Ben, for example, he said he wasn't racing. You can see here me fixing my headset and it going absolutely crazy on screen. Floki was another guy who just joined and wildcarded. So again, a couple of people just jumped in unexpectedly, and I was behind one of them. So we'll see here in a second. I have an issue in a second with another one. So 4 red lights. We're about to see the absolute worst FPS drops ever on GP bikes for me. So we have a small wobble there, which gives me a little fright that I was going to get a jump start, but we get a decent start. But then as I try and leave out the clutch, the game stutters, and Floki, I'm not really sure if he comes across and just hits me, or I feel like I was going in a straight line, so I don't really feel like I did anything, so he kind of just cuts across and hits me, and that is me pretty much last. So unfortunately the pole man, I believe it was Skeptical Ant, is just behind me now. You can see as we go up here I'm getting like 10-15 FPS. I'm just literally have to roll the bike through it. I can't do anything at this point. I was like, if it continues like this I was probably going to quit, because you see there now he crashed on the curb there and just got a load of screen tearing, and this is exactly what it looks like in my headset, even worse probably through the VR headset for me. So I'm trying to push through it and kind of push on and keep going, but you can see it's like I'm on an outlap. It looks so slow, so gimmicky, and I can feel Skeptical Ant behind me just wanting to get past because he's a lot more pace than me anyway. But with me lagging like this, it really wasn't helping me. But just starting to calm down as to get away from the riders on track. So it looks like VR probably won't be possible even if I continue it. We jump now to the end of the back straight, and there's a couple awful again. You can see how terrible screen tearing from the VR headset. Unfortunately, only GP bikes has this issue. I've never found a way of fixing it, unfortunately, and it is a common issue known for it. So you can see just weird interference. That is Ben who must have crashed, and then we just again get weird screen freezing. I was just straight off the track. You can see shake ahead. Not really happy at this point. I'm thinking I can't keep going with this. As we come into turn 1 again, the frames just absolutely die. You can see it's starting to just get sticky again there. As we go up the hill, it's completely gone down again. And in a couple of seconds here now, as it gets really slow, I don't have control. We touch a curb, and I'm down. So second crash. They've skipped the land through. We're down now to P9. I think P9 or 10, which is last of the runners. A lot of people didn't start, and a couple of early people just quit out, which is quite disrespectful, really, to join a race, knock other people off, then leave. We're trying to take this as serious as possible in the league, so we get why one people are allowed in if they're going to do that. I think more the Pirates should have a stricter entry clause where you have to have passwords and stuff, because as we got really close there to hitting skip the land. To be honest, if I hit skip the land there, I probably was all default. I was really at this point pretty pissed. We jump now to the end of lap 2. Doc Munster has had a collision with someone else. I believe it was not really actually sure who it was, but it looks like the way Doc Munster was pointing, it was on the Doc Munster. So difficult. And at this point then, right, end of lap 2, comes up Moses after putting a ban or kick vote up from Azrael Yellow. At this point, I was shaking my head, didn't know what was going on. Just again, I just was so frustrated just because I had okay pace. By no means did I have race winning pace, but when you get knocked off at the start, then you have crashes because the game is lagging, and you've all these other issues. It really just wasn't really enjoyable for me. That is Fox or Boxer, who's probably around my pace, slightly quicker. Again, crashed through that long left. I figured out playing with tyre pressures, you can get that corner nicer. Ben is ahead of me now once again. I think he's having a few crashes. He's not much of a first person player from my knowledge. You see here I'm very hesitant because I just don't know where he is, and again he's in first person as well, so I try and give him the space. So actually right now we're back to P4. As you can see, we're on lap 5 into turn 1. I can hear Skip the Land behind me. At the time I didn't know it was him, but you'll see here in a second he does make an appearance in shot. I can hear him really close, and he just gives a bit of gas, and as I come across there I can just hear him. I have a look there, he's not there, and at this point then I'm on the curb. I have to really go careful, and that also allows Ben through. So unfortunately we're behind Ben once again. So at this point now I'm just trying to get stuck in and stick with these, because I know Skip the Land is quicker. I think Ben really in first person is just kind of biting the screen. He kind of said it in chat himself that he's not very consistent. That was Azrael Yellow, who's the early race leader. He crashed from behind us and then again crashed in the same corner and then quits out of the race. So he's another one that kind of quit out mid-race. So unfortunate, we're losing players. Ben here is about to have an almighty accident. We go over the crest, he wheelies in fairness, then lands, goes wide, and then for some reason turns back in and kills Skip the Land. For me, I think that's completely unnecessary. I think he can avoid him if he wants. I don't see, like, when he lands and goes left, the bike is already going off track. I don't know how he manages to think that he's going to make the corner. He should just sit up and go up the pit lane, kind of run off really. So again, ruining another rider's race there in a sense. And I think Ben after that, another lap later, kind of quits out. So again, just frustrating when there's incidents like this for other people and stuff around you, and then people end up leaving. We are now being caught by Skeptical Ant once again. And what happens here is I'm kind of focusing in my audio, I'm listening more than kind of focusing on going. And up the white line, the front dips off onto the grass, and then we are going in hot. And you can't really backshift this bike quite easily, so we end up in the wrong gear. And then at this point, Skeptical Ant was quicker. I just said I'll leave him go, I won't even try and get back on track. I just let him go and try and be clean and just get in behind him and go with him if I can. But he was in 27s in qualifying, so he was much quicker than me. So again, he has pulled off. At this point now, we are on lap 9. P5 comfortably at this current point in time. So you see yellow flag, and that is Skeptical Ant. Now he rejoins quite cheekily here. You see he goes right across the track as I'm coming through, and then just tries to get back in front of me. So he's alongside me here, and after crashing, I know he's quicker than me, but you thought he would just dropped in behind me, but no, he tries to battle me as soon as he gets back on. Brakes really late here, goes quite wide. I really squared off. You can hear the throttle pick up. He wheelies, goes on the grass and comes back, and I've wheelied and I'm down again. So I've had, I think, like 4 crashes in this race. I don't think any of them really been my fault. The one at the start I was taken out. That one, it was just probably put down to a racing incident. We both wheelied and the bike went against us, but just the whole messiness of his rejoin and battling straight away and just wasn't great. And then the whole issue with the lag at the start. So I was 3 crashes in and I was getting pretty pissed off at this point. We jump now to a lap penultimate, lap 14. And we have someone right behind us. It is Foxer Boxer. He crashed early in the race and is coming back to us. He probably is a bit quicker than me. He was about 3 seconds behind, got down to 0.5, and then at that point, being so far away from the front three, currently being in P4, I was pretty much getting okay FPS, and it was quite rideable. So I was, you can see 30.0 my last lap. I was putting in decent pace then again, so it was getting back to a normal kind of rhythm for me. But he's definitely keeping me honest, and at this point I'm thinking, I know I'm about P4, judging by the pit board. Now every lap you come around, you're always a bit kind of worried that the pit board is lying to you, but you can just hear every couple of seconds that Fox Watch is just there on my back wheel. It's about half a second to a second, somewhere along there. So unfortunately for me, I have none of my max HUD on, just because in first person it kind of, first off, it's really hard to read in first person and just twists with the screen, so it really is not really usable. Also not very realistic to have a load of widgets on screen while riding in VR, so I'm relying completely off my dash and my pit board. But GP Bike's pit boards can be misleading and a bit kind of just wonky at times. But we come into the final corner. We're about now to start the last lap. It's up to 3.3, so he's gone off somewhere, I believe. I don't believe that to be true, because we'll see here in a second as we come through turn 1. At this point I'm thinking, alright, it's 3.3, I can kind of take a handily bring home for P4. As we come up here now in a second, we're about to get a green flag just on cue. We touched the curb and I thought it was game over, thought I was dead. I could just maybe hear his bike. He crashes going up the hill and the bike just chases me into the chicane. I saw an outside shot of that and it actually gets quite close to the back of me, so it's a shame for Fox Box he couldn't battle on the last lap, but I was pretty glad at this point to have no traffic, because I just wanted to bring it home. It had been a long 15 lap race in VR, and with all the issues being taken out a couple of times and just having such bad FPS and not being able to kind of show what I can do even in first person in VR, it's just a bit frustrating this race. So at this point I'm still undecided whether I should continue the championship or not, because all the people who left the race still get points. It's not perfect, this championship, I can't lie, so I'm not really sure whether I'll continue, but I'll kind of go basically off of people's feedback on the video and the response and stuff. But if I do continue, 99% sure it'll be in first person and not VR, just because most of these issues have been VR issues. So I reckon it'll be first person if we do continue. It'll be 2 weeks time. Barber is the next round. We have a big moment here, big tank slapper. You see me shaking my head, not happy at this point again. Even nearly trying away in the last lap. We come out of the last corner, P4, and a wheelie and hand off across the line. So overall, a good result for me in the end, really, considering qualified P5 and ended up getting P4. And my pace, when I could show it, was decent. I was about a second half off my qualifying laps pretty much consistently, which mightn't sound amazing, but when you think of in VR, you just want to be consistent, and I was pretty consistent when I wasn't being taken out. So it's a difficult one, this, because the idea of me racing in VR is fun. I like the idea of it, but just there's so many issues with the performance of it and the overall battling with people, and it's maybe not there yet. On screen now we do have the championship standings. Christian Tari takes the win. He won by a demanding 20 seconds. So Floki, who collided with me at the start, was a standing, gets P2, 20 points. Skeptalant, Pullman gets P3, 16 points, and then they're in P4, so 13 points. Martinson, the main man of this championship, was missing today, so you imagine he'll come back and probably win most of the rounds. Boxer comes back in P5. Tishemi, he was the one that got taken up by Doc Monster. Ben, Azrael, and Doc all quit out, and they still get points for 9 points, 8 points, and 7 points respectively. So yeah, let me know really down below if you want to see this continued. I'm on the fence about it really, just because, again, like Floki joined and wasn't registered or anything, and just got in. There was no password, so I feel like there'll be more issues throughout the championship, really. The fact that there'll be people joining and probably running races that they shouldn't be in and trying too hard and me getting taken out. So I'm probably leaning towards not doing it, but again, if people want to see it, I might consider doing another round or two and just seeing how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you have enjoyed. Let me know what you think for the future races. Should I enter, should I not? It's up to you, really. You'll be the demanding factor, really, in the end. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, drop a like down below. Subscribe to see more. I should catch you all in a future video. Thanks for watching. Slán go fóill.